I had one other thought occur to me after I shot that last video, and that is if you do have an incident with an individual or maybe an aggressive dog or an animal attack, whatever, make sure you contact the agency that has jurisdiction for the area where your confrontation occurred and file a report. You want to cover yourself. If you are forced to use some form of force, whether it's bare hands, maybe you have a confrontation, a person assaults you and you end up striking them, they're striking you or whatever, or you deploy pepper spray or you display an edged weapon, and you deem that, in your opinion, it was necessary for your personal safety to use one of these forms of force, make sure you go to the local law enforcement agency having jurisdiction and file a report. I read recently about an individual who deployed pepper spray, did not file a report, was arrested and charged. Now apparently, per their description, the charges were later withdrawn, but you're still going to go through some problems. You don't want to be in second place on this. You want to be the guy that goes to the authorities and files that report, and then give them as much detail and descriptive information as you can. And then get a hold of a copy of that report if you can, or at least get the report number and hold on to it for documentation. Really hugely critical. If you don't file a report and you have an incident and the other party goes and files a report, it can appear that you did not come forward because maybe you were the aggressor. Not saying that's the case, but it could appear that way, especially if there's no independent witnesses to the event and it's your word against them. So again, anytime you use force, have a confrontation, go file a report. I had an incident several years ago with an individual that was threatening towards me, and even though no force was used or necessitated, I still contacted the local law enforcement agency and made a report, because if something occurred later, it was very heated confrontation, and I decided to file a report because if there was a follow-up later, I was fearful that this individual might use force next time and I might have to respond in kind. So I thought it would be better to have something on file right away. And as it turns out, that individual later was contacted and interviewed by the sheriffs and made some more threatening remarks, and I was contacted by a deputy who told me that I should be careful and that I should consider that if I had contact with this individual, they were more likely to be armed than not, and that's not good. So again, any kind of incident like that, even a road rage, it's probably wise to go file a report. That doesn't mean the officer is going to take a full written report on the incident. They may just take a few details and create a dispatch record, just a very abbreviated event that documents it. But again, make sure you get a hold of the incident report number and hold on to it. And I would also say write down everything you can and retain that documentation. Put it somewhere safe where you can recall it if it becomes an issue later. Or if the individual persists in harassing you and you need to seek a protective order, it's great documentation. So just again, the bottom line is, if you have a confrontation, whether you use force or not, if you display force or if you're threatened, go file a report and get something on file to cover yourself from counter allegations by that individual. Okay, just a final thought that occurred to me after shooting my my other video. You take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.